Welcome to our community. Susie Thomas visiting with you today. We've got Pat Lott from Pathway Caring for Children, and one of the awesome foster parents, Allison Wilson, joins us as well. Good morning, both of you.
Good morning, Susie.
Pathway Caring for Children. We have heard about you, talked about you. You've been in the community for some time, and you, Pat, have been involved for some time.
I have. I just had my 22nd year anniversary at Pathway Caring for Children.
Well, congratulations
Thank
on
you.
that.
Thank you.
A little bit about, do you even remember what drew you to this kind of work in the first place?
Well, I actually was a stay-at-home mom, and then I got involved with some volunteer work with Pathway, and then an opportunity came up, and I joined the team, and it has been a way of life ever since. My kids will jokingly say to me, "Mom, don't go Pathway on us." And that means when I start to do a little extra about giving back or being kind to others. Mm-hmm. So it definitely is a way of life for many of the staff members there, all of us, I'd say, and our foster parents and board.
Allison, what drew you to foster parenting?
It was a girl down our street, was down at our house all the time, and she she needed a way home. And her grandparents actually had got her out of the system. They ended up wanting to move out of town. She wanted to stay so she could finish school. I said sure. So she stayed with us, and then it became clear that she didn't want to go, move to the country, and so I needed to get my foster license.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it didn't help for that one, but it did. She's the reason I started.
And when you approached Pathway about this, did you find that they kind of filled in any gaps that you felt you had?
Absolutely.
In what ways?
Their training is awesome. I mean, it educates you on things that you think you know, but we really didn't know. I mean, and it's ongoing every year, so it's really a good, and I just think it's great.
It's really, to foster can't be one person's decision. It really is a family decision, isn't it?
Right. You have to feel the need. It's not for everybody. You want to give back. You want to help. And once you get in that and you see how many kids there are that need homes, you need to do it.
Did you have children at home when
I had two stepchildren.
Mm-hmm.
I had cancer early on, so I couldn't have kids. And so it's, we've been doing this for almost 12 years, and
You've had kids now.
Right.
Talk about how many children you have fostered.
I'm thinking 40, maybe more. So it's a few.
I would say you've had children, and you're an amazing mom.
Oh, I love it. I mean, the best times I think is when they come back, to pop in to tell you I got my first job, or look at my car, or here's my boyfriend, or fun.
Pat, when somebody like Allison walks into your office, you do a happy dance, I'm sure.
I do. The need is huge. Yes, I do.
What should a person ask themselves? Or what kind of questions do you need to ask yourselves as a family to know if this is right for you?
It definitely is a family affair, as you say. There is a commitment of the entire family to want to make a difference and to see if this works for them or not. So when someone comes to me, which, by the way, I like to say is about a 3-year journey. How do I come up with that number? Well, that's what people will say to me. I've been praying on this. I saw an ad somewhere. I heard a little radio clip that there's a need for homes. And then they think about it a little bit more. And by the time they show up in my office, it's almost a 3-year journey. So by then, I like to say they have an idea. And we start then with the basics of what it'll take to move forward in the process. So usually we do a little one-on-one interview. I invite people to an information session, which I actually do the third Tuesday of the month in our Canton office from 6 to 7. People are welcome to drop in. It's casual. I go over a little presentation about the steps it takes to go through the actual screening, the licensing, and training process before they become licensed. It's about a 3.5-4 month journey. If all goes well with paperwork and we don't have any cancellation of classes or anything like that. I ask people to think about how they think this will impact their family. And then along the way, we do interview family members. We like to make sure everyone feels okay with sharing mom, or maybe sharing dad, or a brother or sister may be okay with it for now, but they may feel a little bit different later on. So we like people to take the time. The training gets them ready. Some of the topics in the 43-hour training that we go over would be child protection team, child development, long-term separation. Those are just some of the highlights of 43 hours that we present to people to see if this is right for them.
Is there an age that seems like a good time for a couple to consider this? I'm wondering if empty nesters might be good. You kind of have...
I love empty nesters.
Yeah?
Yes, I do. I love when people, by that time, a lot of times people, they know what they like, they know what they don't. They have had a lot of life experiences, so they bring with it some golden values, I like to say, that maybe can really help a child in need. There is no... you're as young as you feel, I like to say. And these kids, and I'm sure Allison will agree, these kids keep you hopping, and they do keep you young.
Absolutely.
And so there is no specific age. I have people in their 20s come in, and I have foster parents 70 years old that do a great job.
Wow. Do you do foster to adopt?
We do foster to adopt, Susie. Yes, we do.
And what's involved with that? Because I think some people talk about adoption as being so expensive, but not when you foster to adopt, is it?
That's exactly right. And the benefits of doing a foster to adopt program is just huge. I wish the public was more aware of it. There is no cost to you. It is a win-win situation. This would be where you would have a child in your home in the fostering process, and then the child perhaps would go permanent custody status. And then if the child's been with you 6 months, you would be asked, would you like to adopt this child? And with that, if you say yes, and it's a good match for the child and for your family, we move forward with the legal steps, which Pathway is with you every step of the way, to have this new child be part of your family.
Is the child aware that they would be in that? I think it would be horrible for a child to feel like they were auditioning to be a member for a family.
It's usually not a feeling like that, no. We work very hard with our caseworkers, and sometimes there's a therapist involved. It's a team approach to make sure the child feels loved and cared for each step of the way.
I think when we think of what some of these children have been through at such early ages, how do you begin to prepare to deal with some of these issues? Allison, I'm looking at you.
Well, each issue is definitely individual. Pathway does a great job with training for that, depending on what issue they have. Some you just hope that you can put stuff on board, just to make their life better, to fit in. Some kids fit right in, other kids you have to work at, and it depends on. We have different levels of kids. We have all the way up to X level, which is a little more, challenging. I would say it's, you just kind of, I don't want to say you learn as you go, but you kind of do over the, it's just an ongoing, because there's just no certain book for this type of,
No child comes with a manual.
No, that's exactly
and
right.
Parenting is you learn as you go. Isn't that true?
That's very true.
So, bottom line, there's a tremendous need, as there always is, for homes for children, because every child needs a home.
That is so true.
Can you address this, Pat? Do you have anything coming up to prepare people if they're feeling that tug on their heart right now?
Well, if you're feeling that tug, I would encourage you to give me a call in the office. I'd be happy to meet with you one-on-one, go over the breakdown of the process moving forward. You can reach me at 330-818-0444. Be happy to meet with you. We can do it on a weekend. We could do a weeknight, whatever's convenient for you. There is no cost to get started at all. I like to make that clear. So my info session, which is the third Tuesday of each month, you are welcome. And then I do have a foster parent training starting the first week of July. I would ask, you call me for more information. And July 12th, we do have something pretty exciting in the neighborhood downtown Canton. The Arcadia Grill will be hosting us for our Christmas in July program, which is pretty fun. Come on out from, I think it's 5 to 8:30 p.m. that night. We're going to have some guest bartenders, some giveaways, some pictures with Santa and just general awareness about the need right here in our community.
So if you're interested in finding out more, just come to Arcadia Grill.
You sure
Say
can.
that date again,
It's July 12th.
July 12th, and
Yep.
this is no strings attached, right?
You got
This is
that right. Just some fun.
information.
Yep.
Okay. I think one of the hesitancies families tend to have, and this would be if they still have children in the home, is do I want to bring in a child who really acts out and is going through some rough times and has trust issues? Do I want to bring that into my home? Could they, in fact, end up impacting my children more than my children would end up impacting them? And that tends to be one of the fears. Do you want to address that?
That's true. That could happen. It does happen. They try to recommend that, if you can get a child in your home that's younger than your child, that's the ideal case, because that way, your child can kind of be a role model, and that seems to work best. Not that the other case can't work, because it's just every circumstance is different. Like some will require their own rooms. Some, can be, with another sibling, or some can be with, because some people want to do 2 kids at one time instead of just one. They, there's so many different case scenarios that, some people only want to foster boys. Some people only want to foster girls. I've done both. I tend to lean more towards teenage girls because there's a great need for that. They just don't, they're the hardest to place because there's, I guess, more drama,
Yeah, you're asking for drama. You must enjoy drama.
Right.
If you are requesting teenage girls.
Well, there's a great need for it. I could do a lot less of drama. That would be great, but it comes with the territory. So.
Oh, my goodness. Well, we know we can pray for you, and you probably require a lot of feminine hygiene products in your home at all times. Right? I can't even imagine.
That's true.
Oh, my goodness.
That's true.
All right. This brings up siblings. You really don't want to separate siblings, if at all possible, correct?
Correct,
So what do you
yes.
do in that instance?
Well, we definitely, we
Pray.
of course, right?
Yes.
Well, praying, yes, for sure, Allison, you're right.
Yes.
But the county and, of course, our agency likes to keep siblings together. So there is a need for people that have bedroom space to be able to take sibling groups.
Right.
Because that, of course, is always the first course of action, keep siblings together.
Is the goal always to try and get them back into their home?
Reunification is always the initial goal, yes. With that being said, that's always the hope. Kids do best, with their families, no doubt. And sometimes that just cannot happen. And then, we look for the next best thing for a child, which would be, a loving forever family.
So, Allison, I've got to ask you, how difficult then, because once you have a child in your home and you've had them there for, oh my goodness, even a week or two, you start to be attached. But if the goal is for them to leave you, how do you prepare for that kind of a heartbreak regularly, 40 times?
Well, all of them do not go home, so I didn't have to do that 40 times. However, the ones that do go home and are working to get home, then that's a good story. Whenever they can get home, because that's good. You want them to be, and they keep in touch. I have kids that I've fostered years ago, and they just stop back in my house. They're there for holidays. Because as good as it is to go home, some of the kids, you have to remember they was in the system for a reason. So sometimes maybe that home, it's good that they're there, but it's not. Some homes are just not like we would like them to be as normal. Maybe would that be a fair statement that?
Sure.
So they still need you. You know what I mean?
Sometimes it's not in the best interest of the child to be back in that home
Right, and a lot of
situation.
times that's the case. But there's a lot that when they do go home, it's we have several success stories, and that's that you have to keep hanging on to them because you hope you get more of them than.
And we are going to hear some of those success stories after these words. Stay with us. You're listening to Our Community.